Okay, have you ever had a bad day? We were travelling along on the Canning Stock route, and I was holding a video camera in my hands at the time, and I did come over the top of a sandhill, and the sat-nav was a bit confusing to work out which way we went, so I ended up going straight down the sandhill and straight up the other side past the turn-off. And by the time I got to the top of the other side, I suddenly realised that it was a dead-end track and I had to turn around. And as I began to turn around, I got bogged well and truly in the sand. This little effort cost us about 4 hours to get out, and we had to do quite a few little tricks to get out. I run all my ropes out, right down to the snatch ropes, everything else, right down to a tree down in the gully, because on the sand, of course, you have to get a gum tree or something else that's got a firm base to pull on. And of course, we pulled the winch cable out, and the winch cable fell right out. And as Murphy says, you think it's bad now, wait until a bit later. Anyway, the winch cable fell right out, so then we spent an hour and a half trying to find a screw that would fit back in the winch cable to put the end of the winch cable back on, and we finally got one and put it in, and we wound the winch cable a couple of turns on the drum to make it break. And of course, when I used the winch controller, the winch honey worked one way, it wouldn't go forward, it wouldn't wind up, so I used the unwind system and wound the cable onto it backwards to get out. And of course, the ropes are too short to reach the tree. We were still a bit short, and luckily I always carry a length of Telstra rope with me. That's the blue and white ones you can get. That has an extremely strong braking strain. They only ever use it once, pulling the telephone wires through the tunnels, the pipes underground. So I lashed a piece of that across 3 times backwards and forth and tied it all together, and then hopped back up, wound the winch up until I had a bit of load on it, and merrily dug the car as much as we could out, dug everything away from underneath it, and put her in first low, and then started the winch up, then started trying to drive forward, and eventually we pulled ourselves out and got down the bottom of the sand dune. And at this point, of course, all the gear in the back had been unloaded, because we had to find the toolboxes and the screws and everything else, and all the bits and pieces were laying up on top of the sand dune. So we had to spend the next half hour carting everything back down to the bottom of the sandhill. And as fate goes, 2 days later I was still feeling a bit sorry and tired and everything else, and thinking to myself, you know, perhaps I'm getting too old for this stuff. And an old fella goes by me driving a troop carrier in the south direction, and asked him how old he was, and he says 80. And I looked at him and thought, well, I got a couple of years left. Okay, this is Randall climbing around under the car putting the winch screw back in, which was a lot of fun. We kept dropping it in the dirt, and it was a major job, but we got it out again. To be bogged means we need outside assistance. We never got any outside assistance, so we were not bogged, we were just subdued for a little time. And if you're curious on how we did it, we put all the tension straps, snatch ropes, everything else together to reach the tree, and with the winch cable fully out, we were still about 25 to 30 feet short, 10 metres to the new gauge. And we used the Telstra rope that I used to pull antennas up, be lashed backwards and forth together. And that actually gave us the last few feet we needed to get us out. So we pulled ourselves out. So were we bogged? No, we were just restrained by the sand.